Hey everyone, welcome back to The Manage Her. I'm your host, Aimee Rickabus, and today's guest is not just a powerhouse entrepreneur. She's also my friend, my neighbor, and a fellow member of our Seaside Sisterhood. Kathleen Reed is the founder of West Coast Myofunctional Therapy and is a specialist in Orofacial and Myofunctional Therapy, which provides ideal growth and development in children and whole body wellness and vitality for patients of all ages through airway, sleep, and digestive health support. She's a mom to 5-year-old Shepherd, a stepmom to 2 teenagers, and married to her amazing husband, Brian. And when they're not working, they're off the grid in their van, reconnecting with nature and each other. She's also read The Manage Her cover to cover, and today we're going to talk about the kind of leadership that doesn't always come with the title, the kind that shows up in kitchens, in carpool lines, in patient care, and in building a life that actually fits. Let's get into it. Hey, Kathleen. Hey. Welcome to The Manager. It feels so good to have you here and in person. Thanks for coming in.
It is such an honor to be here. I love your book.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I love all the work that you're doing. So I'm really glad to be here today.
Thank you. Let's get into this myofunctional therapy. Let's explain it for people who have no idea what this is.
Okay. So it's actually orofacial myofunctional therapy. Okay. So orofacial is mouth, face, myofunctional, muscle function. So I'm basically, think of it like physical therapy for the muscles of the mouth and the face. And we work on things like oral resting posture, which is how we hold our mouths at rest, proper swallowing, proper chewing, and proper breathing. So all of our normal everyday functions, we just want to make sure that we're optimally doing them.
That's so cool. And how did you get into this?
When my son was born, he was born with such a severe tongue tie that he could barely even take a bottle. And my background is actually dental hygiene. I've been a dental hygienist for 20 years. And I remember looking down at my son and being like, man, I don't know what a newborn baby's mouth looks like. But if you were an adult, like this would be a tongue tie. And we really didn't have a lot of education in that. This wasn't part of the curriculum or anything like that. But I just had a suspicion, but it was completely missed. It was missed in the hospital. It was missed by the pediatrician, the lactation. I mean, just nobody really knew about it. And I suffered. I mean, I really suffered. My child couldn't eat. I wasn't sleeping. Finally, we had him assessed. We had that tongue tie released when he was 7 days old, but we were really rushed through the process. And it was really traumatic for me.
Totally.
Even as a hygienist, I couldn't do the stretches firmly enough. Like it was just a nightmare. And there's definitely a way to go about doing things where the timing is correct. But then as I went on and learned more, I found out that kids that get that tongue tie release, well, it's great. And it usually gets them up in breastfeeding, but that's not the end of the road. And most of them end up with myofunctional issues and are going to need a secondary release and or myofunctional therapy down the road. And when I learned that I could do that as a dental hygienist with advanced training, I dove in. And then I found out how much it helps with sleep apnea. And during this process, my husband was diagnosed with severe obstructive sleep apnea. And so I just dove headfirst. And the two loves of my life were going to benefit from something that I could learn how to do. And so I went into it.
That's so cool. It's so funny how we're so inspired by our children, our husbands, and how they often inspire our careers and what we end up doing. It's like, seems to be very hand in hand with the women that I've interviewed. And it's very much true with you as well. Yeah, I know Indy had her tongue tied too. And so she had I think we did her release we did a laser process on her when she was about 6 weeks old when we did it. But it was so traumatic.
Yes, it really
was.
And so what I wanted was to make sure that no other mom went through what I went through.
Right.
It is so true. When you have your child, the people that you love, if a mom looking for answers for her child, there is nothing that will stop that mom.
Totally. Yeah. And now I'm noticing that sometimes she snores, but you're right. She never had any follow-up care. So she had a really bad tongue tie. And so now she doesn't. She can stick her tongue out like really far. But I'm noticing she probably still has some like airway issues, especially when she's sleeping.
Exactly. And that was Shepherd too. I mean, and he has been my little learning process. Yeah. That boy didn't sleep through the night until he was 4 years old, after he eventually had to have his adenoids removed. I tried everything holistic that I could do. But snoring, restless sleep, and all of that was starting to impact his behavior, of course. And children who are not sleeping well, their behavior is going to look exactly like ADHD. Yeah. They're not sleeping well. They're not going to be laying down the same amount of gray matter in their brain. They're also not going to grow because during deep sleep is when human growth hormone is secreted. And so their they're not going to grow well. So sleep is so important. The way a child breathes and sleeps is so important for everything. And so many of us, like myofunctional therapy really helps adults too, because so many of us, especially the way orthodontics were done back in the day, removing teeth and just straightening teeth rather than expanding outward, all of us can really benefit from myofunctional therapy.
Absolutely. Like if there was a mom out there and she's like, how do I know if my child needs this? Are there like some really telltales that we could look at?
Oh, absolutely. Well, snoring is a huge red flag. There's no healthy snoring in a child. They are not breathing well. They're getting low grade, oxygen deprivation all night, and not even necessarily low grade. Like it could be severe. I mean, you would never let somebody just like put their hands around your child's neck and squeeze at night. And that's what snoring is. It's depriving them of oxygen.
Wow.
Open mouth breathing, even mouth breathing in kids is really, really big red flag. When you mouth breathe, you're going to put your body naturally into the fight or flight because you have to breathe faster and shallower. You're not able to absorb as much oxygen as if you were nasal breathing.
Wow.
And so it dysregulates. And adults, same thing too. You will be dysregulated. You will feel anxious even when there's nothing going on, but your whole body suffers. You're not getting oxygen. That is the one thing you can live the least amount of time without.
Right.
And so many of us are going through life not breathing well. And not sleeping well. And those are like the two biggest pillars of health. So I always tell people, let's look at your breathing and your sleep first before we try any other interventions. Like, let's take a look at those things. Because very often, and this is what I do, I train people how to properly do these things, like the way we were designed.
Yeah.
We all fall off track for whatever reason at any point in life.
And no one ever really taught us how to breathe.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
the thing. It's no one ever said, okay, in school, this is how we're going to do this. All right. This is the proper way to do this, guys.
Exactly.
No
and
one.
anything, you could get a cold and, for 2 weeks, you're breathing through your mouth and then now it becomes a habit. So a lot of times in kids, there can be a structural blockage there. So we want to make sure that that's not the case. And that's when we would pull in an ENT for an evaluation.
Yeah.
But if it's just a habit, well, that's where I come into play. But so many times mom's like, my kid is mouth breathing. Like, I don't know what to do. I keep telling them to stop. Well, there's a whole process. And that's what myofunctional therapy is. It's therapeutic exercises and activities. It's bringing awareness. Yeah. And it's really awesome. So for my son, he was my youngest little guy I put through a program. And it's just been amazing to watch him thrive.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Well, it's like you're changing people's lives, like the quality of their lives with your work.
That's why I love it so much. I've always loved hygiene. I liked it.
Yeah.
But myofunctional therapy really allows me to change the trajectory of people's lives.
Yeah.
In a meaningful way.
I love that. And I love how you found balance. You were working 5 days a week as a dental hygienist and not loving it, burnt out.
So yeah, dental hygiene was a great career for me.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to, I wanted to go to art school, but my mom said, no, you need to find a career where you can support yourself and 2.5 children on your own if need be.
Yeah.
And I really always wanted to be a mom. So I looked at dental hygiene like a career that would be great. As a mom, I could work, more when I don't have kids and less when I did. And it was really great. But at the same time, it really did not give me that time freedom.
Right.
I'm basically been chained to it, a dental operatory for all these years and on someone else's schedule. If a dentist decides I want to change the hours up and so now we're working late on Tuesdays, well, that's what you have to do. And you're in an office. And after I had Shepherd, you remember my bed rest and all of that.
Oh my gosh. You were on bed rest for 20 weeks with him?
For 4 months. And he was born a month early. And that was a really tough pregnancy.
Yeah.
And so he will be he's my one and only child.
Yes.
And I just really wanted to enjoy and be present.
Yeah.
And myofunctional therapy, starting my own business, has completely given me that freedom.
Yes.
It is so good. Oh, it is so good.
And now you can go to the dental office and clean like 1 day a week and be your best self, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like my fun little day. I still go 1 day a week. I see 6 patients, my favorite patients, and I go see my friends at work. And because I do still like hygiene.
But it's like about finding balance in your life. Right? It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's where women are evolving. And I love to see us rising. And I think that is how we rise, is like by taking our time back. Right?
Absolutely. Autonomy over my schedule.
Yeah.
You almost can't put a price on that.
Yeah.
Because I am an extremely hard worker, but I also like to be able to plug things in very deliberately and intentionally so that I can be super present with my family. And so it's just really nice to have that freedom to make my own schedule.
I love it. Yeah. And I feel the same way. I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur, and it's been one thing I loved about my whole life. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 22 years old, and I couldn't trade it because I went to film school thinking, oh, I'll go be a screenwriter and I'll go work for Disney or somebody and write screenplays. I always thought I'd write like children's movies or something, and I couldn't do it because working for someone else and not being on my own schedule, it's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
It's a deal breaker. I think that entrepreneurship gives you the freedom over your own time that maybe you've never had it in your whole life.
No. And I love it so much. I mean, I am so free. It is just so delicious. It really is.
Because you pick when you're going to work with your clients. Mm-hmm. And you make it work around like what you want to do with your life.
And if I want to go to an event at my son's school, or if I need to pick him up somewhere, or I need to get him to an appointment, or my husband and I want to take off on a long weekend and go camping like we do, I can plan that in. So it's great. It's just such freedom. What it's given me is such a sense of contentment, because even when I'm home on a day doing laundry, I'm so glad. Because I'm getting my laundry done like before the weekend, rather than before when I was at the dental office. I can't be doing laundry at home, moving things along. So I'm like grateful to be doing that laundry in the middle of a day on a Wednesday.
Totally.
So it's just like giving me this, because
nice when you're not burnt out, it's actually fun to do those things. Yes. When you're burnt out, it's no fun to cook dinner. When you're burnt out, it's no fun to do laundry. But when you have, your cup is full, you're happy as a human being, mm-hmm. it's a lot easier and more joyful to do cooking, grocery shopping, laundry, and all the things that we do love to do, that keeps our family moving, all of the not so invisible work now, hopefully, that we do in our homes. We want to be joyful when we're doing those things. We don't want to be resentful when we're doing them.
Exactly.
And that's the big shift for a lot of us who've made the shift into like entrepreneurship, is that when we do those things at home, I'm excited. If I'm cooking dinner for my family, like I'm happy to be doing that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. If I'm doing laundry, I'm happy to be doing that, and it's because I'm not burnt out, just like you said.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is having control over your schedule. Well, if there's times when I need to scale back a little bit to focus on other things, or just, I can do that. I don't have to be burned out. It's a choice. Yeah. It's a choice to manage my own life and my own schedule in such a way that we can all flow nicely and be happy.
I love it. That's amazing. So you're like one of my first guests who's read my whole book.
Yes.
And I would love to get into it with you. Like, is there a chapter or a quote or a theme that stuck with you the most?
Oh, well, I just devoured that book. I loved it so much. And as I was reading, I kept thinking to myself, like, of all the friends I want to buy this for and give it to. And it was just so great. Well, I think the biggest thing that I really liked about it was that you focus on, it's not like, oh, women are better and men are awful and like all of that. No, it's like, we just want gender parity. We just want to work as more of like a team. And we love our husbands. We've got great, we love our guys. Like we have sons, It's not about one being better than the other, but it's like, hey, let's like, just name some of these elephants in the room, which are, the, unseen labor and boundaries that need to be set and things like that. And talking about it, just bringing the conversation. Yeah, it was really
absolutely. Yeah. And when we were talking about it, I realized, we call it invisible labor, but it's really like unspoken labor. It's the fact that like, for some reason, we're not allowed to say what we're doing. All of the contributions that the women are doing in the household have to be very quietly done. They have to be very like, it's like we're sneaking around like little fairies or like Santa's elves doing all this work without, naming it, without getting recognition for it or having accountability. There's no, and then I feel like with that, we're doing it at like the subconscious level rather than bringing it to like this conscious level of the household. And we, as the managers of our household, I think that we have a duty to bring forward and to communicate what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Now that we're not second class citizens, we're not subhuman. We're very much equals in this country, in this time, on this planet. And it's time for us to be like, I washed the dishes. Yeah. And everyone's like, that's awesome, Mom. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I really loved it too, how you provided the language for me to kind of have these conversations with my husband, because thinking of yourself as the household manager and in a business sense, it's something that I really hadn't done before, but it gave me the verbiage to go back to my husband and talk about systems and standard operating procedures and how when things aren't done a certain way and how if it's done at less than 80%, it's my duty to, remind people, identify it, bring them back up to speed, and make sure they understand how to do it. But it's not me being a difficult or bitchy. It's
just operations management.
Exactly. And that would make sense in a business, but I'm like, you would be fired if this was a business.
I mean, honestly, it's like, I've been thinking about this a lot. If my kids would just wash their own dishes, everything would go so much more smoothly in the kitchen. And it's like just bringing awareness. This is the new SOP. Everyone is to wash. If you use a plate or a cup, just wash it. Wash it, put it on the drying side.
Right. And that was something what I realized too, is that maybe I haven't been clear in describing the systems. And like you talk about making a little handbook for all of those over 8 in your household. Great idea. What a great idea. Because again, you talk about this in the book, is bringing the power back to what you have control over and owning your stuff. And so for me, that was noticing, hey, maybe I haven't been as clear in communicating the system, why it's important. Instead, I silently get annoyed when things aren't going as planned. And then that builds resentment. And then you are like slamming things around and like frustrated, but
you are. That was me. I was like, why am I so resentful when I'm doing this? And it's because I felt like I wasn't allowed to communicate what I needed and my own personal boundaries within the household. And I realized that there wasn't anyone else telling me, I didn't need anyone else's permission to do those things. So it was like, once I gave myself permission to identify what I was doing and to communicate it, it's like, okay, that was it.
Exactly. And my husband is so great. He is just like, Brian, I just love him so much. And he wants to do right.
Yeah, of course.
And he wants to, like, there's never been a time when I've communicated something to him that I need or want that he's not like, oh, like, thanks for telling me that. And sure. And like, let me try. Like, let me try a new way. And I think so often, like, and I watched this in my mom growing up, and my mom's so awesome, but like, I watched her always putting herself last and, oh my gosh, and just working like a dog and thankless. And so that was the model for me. I thought being a good woman meant basically being a martyr and not talking about those things. And it's so damaging. It's not a good look. And that's why I love you wrote this book as like, to pave a path for the younger generation of women and for us too, to just own it, because we are in a really unique time.
We're not in that time. We're not living in the 1960s or the 50s. Like we are now it's 2025. Like we're and our partners want to be partners.
Yes.
And we have to teach them how to be partners, because the relationships that our mothers and fathers had were not the greatest. They weren't modeling real partner behavior for us.
No.
And it's like they didn't learn it from their dad's behavior, and we didn't learn it from our mom's behavior, And so it's, how can we clean up this old messy yuck that doesn't need to be in our relationships? Because there's a reason why a lot of those marriages ended in divorce in the 80s.
Yeah, totally. Or we're just people who, even if they stayed married, they were miserable.
Right.
And that's not a way to be.
No.
Like, there's this Native American metaphor about the bird of humanity that's been flying with one wing for far too long. There's the masculine and the feminine wing. And it's like the feminine wing has just been pinned back and tied down, and the masculine wing has become violent as a result. It's overworked. And that bird can't fly. It can just fly in circles and get nowhere. And that's unfortunately, like, we've been stuck in this rut, but no more.
No more.
And especially in today's world, where, like, for you and I, where we have all the household rules, but we also have a business that we're running.
Yes.
So there needs to be a shift in what's expected of the teamwork of the household management too.
Yeah, exactly. Because we are working outside of the homes. Being inside the home isn't our whole job anymore. It's not 1950. So if we're really in a partnership, our husbands are, like I said, when your husband comes home, if you have small children, this is also a workplace. We are working until these children go to bed. This is, you're not on vacation when you get home from work, boys. Like, if you have small children, the work doesn't stop when you get home. No. The work doesn't stop till they get in bed.
Right.
I mean, mom doesn't stop until you get everyone tucked in.
Exactly. And even then, it's not, you're tidying up the house and you're getting things ready for tomorrow. And I feel like as a a mom in the house, you're always preparing. You spend half your time like preparing for the next thing or getting things ready for the next thing. And that is invisible labor too.
Oh yeah.
So that the morning runs smoothly because like the night before you were after, your husband might have turned in for the night and you're still scurrying around getting the paper into the notebook and, the lunch is made and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because if you're good at managing your household, it's all about being prepared.
Right.
Yeah. Being prepared is like the big thing for a real strong household manager. If you're a good mom, you're usually like, okay, I know exactly what's happening tomorrow. And if I do this, and this right now, tomorrow's going to be so much smoother. But it's it really is the nonstop carry. We're always carrying the knowledge of what's about to happen with all of the schedules, tomorrow. Shepard has a dentist appointment. He's got to be at school at this time. He needs his lunch, his socks. Does he have clean clothes? Does he have clean socks? Where are his shoes? Can I find them easily?
Yeah, exactly. And then with a blended family, it's even more moving parts because you have kids going back and forth between households and
right. Yeah, totally. So you're like, okay, we've got the kids here. We've got the kids not here. Do they have everything they need?
Something?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just constant work. And it's the, like you said, it's the planning and the remembering everything. I mean, it's even like the remembering my sister-in-law's birthday card. You know what I mean? Like, it's just things like that where you're constantly thinking about.
Totally. Yeah. When you can't forget like your parents' birthdays. I'm always, because they're not local. So it's like, did I get it out? Do I got to get the cards out in time?
Yeah,
all the little things. Yeah. All the things. Can you share how your faith has shaped your journey as a mother and as a businesswoman and how it has influenced the way that you make decisions and navigate challenges in both roles?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Literally, it's everything.
Right.
And I'm so grateful. It was, I think in those moments of struggle, like being on bed rest is like really when I had nothing to do but read my Bible and pray.
Right.
I think motherhood is like, it's like the initial moment to surrender. From the minute you get pregnant, you have to realize, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm not in control.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky that we get that because that's like, the most amazing thing to then turn that over and realize that like, I'm not in control, right? There's this higher power, but I use my faith in everything. In the morning, the first thing I do is, get in child's pose and I put my head down and I just ask God to come with me, to go before me in all that I do today, to give me the wisdom, to give me the words, to bring the right people in my life and to let the wrong ones fall away. And I pray before I go and work with my patients. And I bring this deep love for my people. And I think that it just works and it just works and it's everything. And I'm so grateful. I really am.
Yeah. Your faith gives you, it gives you strength.
Absolutely.
In your home and in your business to know that you're moving forward in the right way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that you're on the right path all the time. And then I have one question for you too, because you and Brian are like huge adventurers and you guys are like off grid in your van and you're camping like almost every other weekend, it seems like. And what does that time give back to you personally and as a family? Oh,
it is so great.
Yeah.
We really do get to unplug. I do have a Starlink though, which I love my Starlink.
Cool.
So it allows me to, again, deliberately do what I need to do and, be connected if I need to be. Like I could do a Zoom call easily anywhere. It's actually like better internet than like in our house.
No way.
Yeah, Starlink's awesome.
Oh.
So it really allows me to still stay connected and, when we can take off on these long trips, but getting back to nature and just being totally present and getting to just enjoy my guys.
Because you guys like go out. Like you're not in like a campground.
No.
You guys go.
I prefer not a campground.
Isn't that?
Yeah, BLM land. BLM land. Yeah. We go out to Death Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, we go everywhere, but it is so
and your van
free.
is like fully, it's stocked with absolutely everything you need.
Could really go away and get lost forever. Yeah.
Wow.
But I love, that's the other great thing about being able to see clients virtually.
Yeah.
Is that I can do that. Like we can take off on a Friday or Thursday. I can still see my clients if I need to.
Yeah.
See them on Zoom and it works out great. So I don't even have to have an interruption, but I can really have that beautiful time with my family. And like, it is such freedom.
I have to try it sometime.
Yes.
I've never ever done it. And it's just, I know. I am actually.
California has so much nature. It's like so big. And I'm from the East Coast.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly like wide eyed and just like, the first time I saw the Sierras, I was like weeping. It's just so big and beautiful here. And so we get to go do that. And we just get to like take off and just be connected with one another. And it's so simple. It's like, making campfire and cooking meals and just hiking and being far away from all the noise, but also still being able to like, you know, get a little work done if I need to.
I love that. I know. I've always thought that you guys are like that unique family in the neighborhood that's like, okay, they're packing it up. We go on the van. I'm like, the van's gone. They're out.
Yeah, it's so great. It's really, really nice. It gives it such a nice balance from all the noise of the usual. We can just get back out.
Well, as we're getting more like into this technological world, you know, hopefully people will value getting out and getting off the grid and being in nature more as we become more inundated with technology and social media and all of the things.
Yeah, I haven't actually told everyone that I have a Starlink because I'm like, oh, so I'll be off the grid. They won't be able to get in touch with me for so now it's out. But like, but I pretend sometimes.
So let's shift into something I know you're passionate about, tech and wellness. Now, how do you use technology and AI in your personal life and in your business practice?
Technology in my business, I mean, I see all my clients virtually through Zoom. I also use a lot of external monitoring. Like if someone has an Oura ring, or we can do at-home sleep studies with a watch pad. That's really cool, where you can get all the data and then be able to really track someone's sleep. I personally track my sleep and keep an eye on that with my Apple Watch. And I use an app called Auto Sleep, which I really like. Yeah. So that's really allowed me to fine tune my sleep, because that's another piece of myofunctional therapy really is sleep. And I'm a certified sleep coach also. Nice. So that's a really, really big, important piece. I also really love my Train Heroic app, because, you know, Kelly programs workouts for me remotely. So I just go to the gym and do those. I use my fitness
Kelly Abney does that for you.
Yeah, because I can't it doesn't necessarily always fit in my schedule to make it down to her workout classes. So she just programs for me, and then I just go do it at the gym. And people will be like, "I like your workout." I'm like, "Well, you too could have this too. Let me tell you about my trainer. She'll program it for you."
Well, that's good. I didn't know she didn't offer that. You know, that virtual programming of her training is, you know, giving you a plug, Kelly Abney.
Yes, it's awesome because I love it, and she'll like change it up however I want, whatever. But yeah, it's really nice. I also use a CGM, my continuous glucose monitor. I love that. That's really allowed me to hone in on, you know, my blood sugar, because we all know like that's like the big thing now.
It's a very big thing. Mm-hmm. Kathleen, thanks so much for being here and showing up with so much heart and honesty. And your approach to wellness and parenting and balance is something so many women need to hear right now. To everyone watching, be sure to check out the show notes below for a link to West Coast Myo, and definitely share this episode with someone who's navigating motherhood, business, or the invisible work of showing up for others every day. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and leave a review. It helps us keep these stories visible and this movement growing. Until next time, keep managing her. You're already leading. Let's just make it visible.